Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be having a little bit of a look at the great little Pokemon from Team Up. I'm not going to go through every pre-evolution, that would take way too long. What I am going to do is go through the best pre-evolutions, the ones that you should be playing instead of the ones we have. So, something like Magikarp, goodness no, play the one from Crimson Invasion. Similarly, things like Ponyta, well, you know what, there's only one Ponyta there. I don't need to tell you which Ponyta to play. There's literally only one option. I'm going to tell you about the ones that got better in Team Up, and then I'm going to show you, I think there's 4 of them, genuinely amazing pre-evolutions. So, starting off then with Weedle. The Weedle from Team Up has a nice little attack. I'm talking about the 40 HP one, which lets you drag a Pokemon active. Lowest HP of all the 3 Weedles around, but it is a really nice attack that can buy you a turn or two. In terms of Paris, we do see a Paris in this set with 10 more HP than the other Paris. Having said that, you can't use Professor Round's Lecture because it's 70 HP. So if you want more HP, go for this one. If you want Professor Round's Lecture, go for the other. In terms of Execute, we actually got a really nice new Execute coming around in Team Up. Flip 4 coins for 1 grass energy, 10 damage for each heads. The one from Ultra Prism does 20 damage for each head you can flip in a row. That is, shall we say, ladies and gentlemen, a tad bit risky. In terms of Charmander, it's not particularly amazing, but it is the only Charmander we've got that you can actually use with Professor Round's Lecture, so that is very much something to bear in mind. Psyduck, the Psyduck we got in Team Up actually has lower HP than the existing Psyduck, but once again, it is the only Psyduck we've got that can be used with Professor Round's Lecture, and it stops your opponent playing any trainer cards from their hand during their next turn, whereas the other one just confuses you both, so I feel fairly confident this is the better Psyduck. In terms of Staryu here, again you have slightly lower HP, and the really annoying thing here is that you can't even use Professor Round's Lecture as a reason because the other one can use it as well, but the fact of the matter is you can paralyze on a coin flip. That makes it better. The new Alolan Graveler only has 100 HP, and we do have 110 HP Graveler, but it does 30 damage for 0 energy, and then you can start bringing in stuff like Electro Power because it is a lightning Pokemon. Not an attack you ever want to use, but a very nice one in a pinch. In terms of Flaffy, I feel like we've actually got the best Flaffy we've had for a little while here. Firstly, it's got 10 more HP, which is a huge advantage. And secondly, it's got a single energy attack for 30 damage. And again, you can bring in stuff like Electro Power. So I really like this. In terms of Blitzel, it's not necessarily the best of the Blitzels, but it is the only Blitzel we've got that will actually allow you to use Professor Round's Lecture. So for that reason, if you want to use Professor Round's Lecture, this is the Blitzel to go for. The new Tentacle we are getting in Team Up has paralysis on a coin flip. I think that's better than stopping your opponent healing the following turn most of the time, so I think it is the better one. We also have a Cosmoem which has 10 more HP than any Cosmoem we've had so far. Now admittedly the other Cosmoem do allow you to flick to the bench, whereas this one has a significantly worse attack, but a lot of the time here, 10 more HP, especially on a stage 1, will make a difference. We're also getting the best Pancham we've had so far. Firstly, this has got less HP, so you can grab it with Professor Round's Lecture. And of course, we've got an attack for a double colorless energy, 40 damage. If heads, you get to discard an energy. Now, if tails, the attack completely fails. But you know what? I am willing to take that risk, ladies and gentlemen. I am willing to take that risk. So they're the ones that give you a slight advantage over the previous ones, but there are a few here which are legitimately really, really good. So if we have a look at Squirtle, Squirtle has free retreat, just so long as you have a stadium in play. Now, the wording on this is very important. It is free retreat If you have a stadium in play, if your opponent has a stadium in play, this doesn't work. What is really cool here is that in Unbroken Bonds, we're actually going to be getting a War Turtle that reduces damage done to it by 20, just with the ability. So actually, we've got a nice little pair here, Blastoise line getting some love. No, we don't like the fact that it's got 50 HP, ladies and gentlemen. That is not ideal. But firstly, the other one can't be gotten with Professor Round's lecture. And secondly, this ability is one you just do not want to turn down. We're also getting a Cosmog here, which is a very nice Cosmog indeed. Again, I think it is, by a little bit of a way, the best Cosmog that we've actually got. It's got one of those abilities that we see semi-often, which protects it when it's on the bench. There was, of course, the fairly famous Squirtle, which used to do this back in the day. Incidentally, that would be better and be played over the current Squirtle. And, of course, we mentioned Magikarp earlier, which has the same ability. It's nice to have this. And yeah, fine, you've got the other one that's got 60 HP and lets you draw a card. I know I don't care, ladies and gentlemen. You could switch to the bench. No, I don't care, ladies and gentlemen. Could not care. Because what we've got here is an ability that protects you on the bench. So if your opponent tries to get fancy with something like a Tapu Koko, you just don't care. Your opponent starts using Jet Punch with Buzzwole, you don't care. It's too good an ability to turn down. Now, Alolan Grimer is in a weird situation in that it is legitimately not just used for Alolan Muck. Now, you can use it for Alolan Muck. It's got a nice, extra fun little ability. But Alolan Grimer here is actually a great Pokemon in its own right. It is an evolving Pokemon which got its own video. Double colorless energy, 20 damage plus 50 more for each special condition affecting your opponent's active Pokemon. This can add up quickly. This is a legitimately good card, and it actually deservedly got its own video. Not the only one we're going to talk about that did. To be honest, most of these really good ones did. Bronzor. Bronzor can evolve on your very first turn in a game, just so long as you went second. When we see an ability like this, it almost doesn't matter what else we see about the card, because it's too gosh darned good. It is going to be a great card, which is going to be your preferred one. It literally makes you want to go second. It's that gosh darn good. Yeah, the other one can also be grabbed with Professor Round's lecture. We don't care. This Bronzor is ridiculous. We've also got Doublade. Now, Doublade is another one of these which is probably going to be its own deck. For just a double colorless energy, it allows you to do 30 damage for each Pokemon tool on the field that is attached to yours and your opponent's Pokemon. It's also actually got 10 more HP than the other one, which is kind of funny. But make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this Doublade is ridiculous. And the great thing here is, whereas the Alolan Grimer we talked about, you could say, well, you know, maybe there'll never be any special conditions, so it's not worth worrying about. Whereas this one, absolutely, at some point, you or your opponent's going to put tools down, and you'll get some use out of this. But by far the best evolving Pokemon in the set, Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto is going to be a great, great tech in a huge number of decks from now until it rotates. While it's sitting on the bench, you can look at the top two cards of your deck. One of them goes in your hand, the other one goes on the bottom of your deck. And yeah, we've got Pokemon like a Rangaroo and Zebstrika, making this slightly less vital than it would have been in other formats. But let's make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a huge card, which is going to do a huge amount of good and is going to see a huge amount of play. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the great little Pokemon that we got in Team Up. Some of these are just the new best option. Some of them give you another option. but some of them are so good that are actually going to be decks based around them, and the evolving Pokemon don't often get the love. So I thought it would be nice to give them the love in this video. So we did. But ladies and gentlemen, now it's over to you guys. Tell me which of these you like. Tell me if there's any that you like that I didn't mention in this video. Tell me if you're going to be playing stuff like Doublade or Alolan Grimer. Go nuts, ladies and gentlemen, but please do remember the most important rule as always. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about Transformers and other games. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.